Hi friends, in today's current affairs topic, we'll discuss the waiver of TRIPS agreement with respect to COVID-19 vaccine. In this lecture, I'll try to discuss what was the issues that are arising with respect to the waiving of TRIPS agreement conditions to the COVID-19 vaccine. What is this TRIPS agreement? Why you are asking for a waiver? Who are asking for that waiver? What are the problems associated with this? And what exactly the TRIPS, when it was came into effect, and what were the challenges that are there in front of us as far as COVID-19 vaccine distribution is concerned. Okay, so actually this TRIPS agreement is something related to protecting the intellectual property rights of an innovator or a manufacturer or a designer, and now they have manufactured a new COVID-19 vaccine, and for that should we provide intellectual property rights to those people or not? This is the debate. Actually this debate has started way back when we enter into this COVID-19 condition, because once you started producing the COVID-19 vaccine, and it is the big pharmaceutical industry of the world, and that too developed world, will really manufacture, and is it really accessible to the third world countries or underdeveloped countries? So this is what exactly the question. On the other hand, there is a concept called vaccine nationalism is also growing. That means under vaccine nationalism, the developed countries like America, they have started said, actually when Trump was the president, they have started saying like our vaccine should be inoculated to our people first, then only we will give it to other. But this is something a peculiar condition, it's a once in century crisis. So how you need to supply these medicines to all the countries with respect to COVID-19? So this was the debate that happened over a period of time. And if you come to the world trade, WTO is monitoring this entire thing. And now some countries like India and South Africa, they went to the World Trade Organization and they have put a proposal like we should not levy any intellectual property right, royalty related things on this. Suppose if you allow that thing, then this vaccine becoming so costlier, and these costlier items cannot be burned by the, or cannot be burdened by the some of the least developed countries or something like third world countries. So this is an argument, but on the other hand, some of the countries are saying like no, nothing doing. And in the last 2 days, WTO general body has met. In that there were some serious discussion happened on this waiving of TRIPS condition to the COVID-19 vaccine, and unfortunately they haven't come to any conclusion, but the discussions are going on. Some countries are pro, some countries are anti. That means some people saying like we must provide waiver to this COVID-19 vaccine from the TRIPS agreement, and some countries are saying nothing doing, there is no waiver, so it should be like a normal medicine. So with this general information, I'll try to entering into in detail discussion of these things. So before we getting into this COVID-19 vaccine related information, first of all I'll try to discuss what exactly is this TRIPS, because once you understand the TRIPS, then it is easy for you to understand the other issues. Okay, so this TRIPS actually have its own genesis in World Trade Organization. Earlier there was a body called General Agreement on Trade and Tariff, but in the year 1995 it has changed into WTO with new vigor and new objectives and new processes. So when this WTO was formed, there are series of agreements that were signed among the members in order to promote the world trade. And some of the agreements I will try to write. One is Agreement on Agriculture. Second one is TRIPS, Trade Related Intellectual Property Rights. Third one is Agreement on Application of Sanitary and Phytosanitary Measures. This is something about exporting of the both animal and the plant origin products. Next, Agreement on Technical Barriers to Trade, that thing will be discussed here. And next one is TRIMS, Trade Related Investments measures. So these 5 agreements are concluded at the time of WTO. So WTO is nothing but it is a combination of these 5. And why these agreements are concluded? In order to promote a free trade and try to eliminate the very high restricted borders with some conditions. So that is why WTO has evolved, and WTO is there to promote the free trade. Now in that, TRIPS is one agreement. Now I'll try to discuss what exactly the TRIPS all is about. So trade related intellectual property rights is an integral part of the agreement establishing the World Trade Organization or WTO. So this TRIPS agreement has laid down the minimum substantive standards for protection, and also it provides some of the procedures and measures and the remedies that should be available for the right holders in order to stop its misuse. That means this is a right provided to whom? Inventor or a manufacturer or creator. So those who are doing this innovation work, for them this TRIPS agreement will provide some sort of standards. So what are those standards and why those standards? Because these standards are necessary to provide some sort of right over that invention, and these substantive standards are there for the protection of this inventor or manufacturer or creator. And it not only provides the standards for the protection, but it also provides the other remedies or procedures. So what are these procedures and what are these remedies, and why these procedures and remedies are available? So that the right holders can reinforce their rights effectively. That means these rights cannot be taken away by anyone. So in a simple language, if at all I want to explain, suppose is there any invention or is there any creative thing happened, now the creator of that invention has an every right on that, and he can exercise that right, and in order to get that right and also in order to protect that right, this TRIPS is framing some rules and regulation. And every country who is signatory to the WTO or World Trade Organization has to oblige with those standards and also the rights granted to the creator or an inventor. Any invention happen, that inventor has a complete right over that. And if at all we wanted to use that technology or use that product, we must pay some sort of royalty to that creator. Simply you can't use it. So this is what all about TRIPS. And right of the patent owner to prevent unauthorized person from using the patented processes and making and using and sale. So unauthorized sale or unauthorized use or unauthorized any application is not acceptable under TRIPS if that person has get any patent over that invention or creation. So this is what intellectual property rights, and that is what TRIPS. And how many types of intellectual property rights are there? See, you might aware some of the things like patents is one type, trademark, this is another type, industrial designs. Trademark means any company's mark. Some companies having their own respective mark and no one can use that. If someone uses, then he will be liable for punishment. So, and even geographical indications, copyrights. So like these are the different type of intellectual property rights that are available. So if it is a literary work, you will have copyrights, and if any natural or man-made product related to a particular geography, then you will use geographical indications. And suppose if any specific design and processes are involved in any manufacturing of any good or service, then you will get this industrial designs. And trademark is for any company's name and everything, and patent is something about the production of some other goods and other things. So here whoever is creating or whoever is doing the innovative work, he will get that right, and he is supposed to get that right. And if anyone illegally using, then he have an every right to exercise his right, and he must seek compensation from that people. This is what TRIPS. And how many years this person is having such a right? And here the TRIPS said, like, the terms of protection must be expire no earlier than 20 years. That means minimum 20 years. Minimum 20 years from the date of filing patent application. You have to be very clear, you will get the prelims bit. Date of filing patent application. So you will get these rights. Date of filing patent application till 20 years you will get these rights. So now the point is, okay, you have created one invention and you got that patent rights, and you are going to enjoy it for 20 years or whatever the thing that is decided by the respective organizations. Now the point is there any exemption to these TRIPS? That's the point, because you need to know. Yes, under TRIPS agreement, the patent rights are not absolute. They are under reasonable restriction. There are some limited exemptions are there. So what are those limitations? Because these limitations are important in order to understand the COVID-19 case. Here, for research purposes, suppose if any person or any third person, if they wanted to use your innovative product for its own research purposes, then he can use it without paying any royalty. You cannot exercise that right in this case, because it will helpful for advancing of science and technology or advancing of research and development. So if that product is solely used for the research purpose, then you get the exemption, because to understand more about technology, to bring more and more invention with that whatever the created one. Okay. Second one is about compulsory licensing, and this compulsory licensing or CL, generally this compulsory licensing is used by the government for the public purposes. That means even government cannot use it for commercial purposes. So this is not for the commercial purposes, government can use for public purpose. If the government thinks that this is very necessary for the public purpose, then they can get that entire information without paying any royalty and anything. Generally it will be used in case of pharmaceuticals, because suppose if company comes with some new innovative drug for a particular disease, and if that particular disease is so lethal and it is taking away a lot of lives, then government can immediately intervene, and they will take that product from that company and they will try to distribute the medicine at lesser cost, or if it is possible at free of cost to the people to save the lives. So in that time the owner cannot claim his right of this intellectual property. So this is a second exemption. Third one is right of a member to take measures against the anti-competitive practices. Suppose if anyone inventive, but they are going for anti-competitive practices, they are bringing high amount of monopoly, and then in order to reduce those anti-competitive practices also at that time, then you don't get right of this patent, because that product must be bring and they have to be available at the competitive rate. Competitive rate is nothing but it's not a cheaper rate, but at least you must be competitive enough, and if it is beyond the competition and if it is really high, then definitely governments will intervene and you are not supposed to exercise that right. Okay, these are the broader three exemptions that they are given under TRIPS. And here there are some questions and debates are happening. See, you are giving some sort of exemption, but this TRIPS agreement, prior to the TRIPS agreement, there is no protection, something like, because if you don't give such a protection for the creators or the inventors, then there is no incentivization for them to do much more work. So that is the reason why this TRIPS agreement pays a considerable attention to the need to find an appropriate balance between the interest of the right holders and also the users. So here the right holders and users, there must be fine balance, because if you don't bring this fine balance between users and right holders, then it is a deadly combination. Because if you go on giving the complete rights to the inventors, and if that is not affordable to the common man, then what is the use in that? And at the same time, that must be useful for the people, and in emergency necessary condition, government can intervene, and this is a very rare condition. I will try to give some examples for that rare condition, and in that rare condition, government can use and they can provide some sort of right to the user. And why you need to provide the right to the user? Because this is created by this guy and he has spent lot of money and lot of research. Because society is also contributing to these persons, not in terms of money. Because if you are existing in as a human being in society, means we are living in a society, and society is contributing a lot for our development. Today we are traveling on a road is constructed by some people. Okay, today I am going in a bus, lot many people are involving in that bus manufacturing and the bus driver, and there are various organizations involved in this. You can simply say that I am paying. It's not the question of whether you are paying it or not. When somebody is contributing for your comforts, in an emergency case, you must also contribute for their welfare. And here they are not asking you to supply the medicine or anything at free of cost. Government will burden, or you can supply at the normal level. So the question of intellectual property rights may not arise in case of these three conditions or in an emergency condition, but otherwise you must provide complete rights to this inventor. Otherwise it is very difficult to promote the research and development or innovation or even economic growth, because economic growth is completely depending on new innovations. So in order to promote innovation and in order to promote this economic growth, this identifying or recognizing the rights is very important aspect. So that is the reason why you need to provide rights to those people, and you need to balance the rights of the users in extreme cases. Now when it comes to the case of India, there are lot many issues that are happening with the TRIPS. I am not getting into that details because this is not the right time to discuss that. But in India, we are having a patent act which was brought in 1970s. Later, once we have signed this agreement, we have started amending this our patent act in order to suit our legislations with respect to the TRIPS. Now our patent laws are in consonance with the TRIPS agreement. That means we have respected the TRIPS. Second one is, in the year 2016, we have brought National IPR policy, intellectual property rights, with a slogan called Creative India and Innovative India. So it is a Creative India and Innovate India, Srujanatmak Bharat and Rachanatmak Bharat. Okay, this is the slogan given by. So that means we are fully comply with the IPR rights. Though we are having some sort of disputes in some areas, we are approaching the World Trade Organization and we are settling then and there itself. But now a peculiar condition has arisen. I will give some example so that I will come to COVID-19. The peculiar condition is, when it comes to the developing world, these international pharma companies and also some of the developed companies, they are not allowing this users' rights in a complete manner. They are more focusing on the patent rights than the user rights. Suppose in the year 1998, the pharma companies brought a legal proceeding against South African government to stop it from introducing a law that would make HIV and AIDS drugs more affordable. So they have made a law. What is that law? To supply this HIV and AIDS medicine. It's not a perfect medicine, but whatever the medicine available at lesser rate or more affordable. Then these companies went for a legal proceeding. So what their legal proceeding? Because we are the manufacturer and we have a complete right over that. And if you promise like affordability, then that means you are forcibly procuring from us at a cheaper rate, because some of the pharma companies may also have their establishment in South Africa. So now they have an every right to do that. This is something disrespecting their rights. It is against their rights. But government wanted to use it because it is lethal, and once you get it, then you will death is the only consequence. So that is why government want to save the lives. They consider it is an emergency, and that too it is a new disease at that time. So that is the government decided. When it comes to the balance between rights of the creator and the rights of the user, sometimes pharma companies have started asserting their own rights rather than user rights. But anyhow, later that company has withdrawn that case, and they have abandoned with that case. But these things happen. That is the reason why Doha Agreement, I think you might all aware this Doha Agreement of 2001, this is a very important agreement, because in this Doha Agreement, actually when we have signed in the 1995, after that developing countries have started raising lot of apprehensions. Whatever we have signed in WTO agreement, we have actually not discussed to that extent. So you need to provide some sort of benefits to the developing world, whether it is on agriculture, whether it is on intellectual property rights, whether it is on sanitary and phytosanitary, whether it is on investments. So in the Doha Agreement, what they have said is TRIPS can and should be interpreted in light of the goal to promote access to medicines for all. So in this lighter, so in the light of these goals, you need to interpret the TRIPS agreement. That means TRIPS rules must be interpreted in a manner like to promote access to medicines for all. That means, suppose if there is any condition that has arisen where the medicine is necessary but it is not accessible to all, then immediately you can interpret the TRIPS agreement to promote this objective. That means the TRIPS agreement, whatever you have right, is not absolute. I have said 3 exemptions, but that 3 exemption must be interpreted in a manner to achieve this goal. The goal is to promote access to medicines for all. But unfortunately, when it comes to this implementation of the Doha Agreement, it is still not happening even today. Lot of problems. Developed countries, they don't want to give these benefits to developing countries. Now they are bringing lot of other issues into WTO forum. So they are not allowing this discussion, and they are saying like you must include some more discussions, some more issues which is not favorable to developing world. And when Donald Trump was the president, and he has come up with some statements like some of the developing countries which we are calling now is not actually developing countries, but they have developed countries, so they cannot claim any rights under this WTO agreement, whether it is on agriculture or TRIPS or some other thing. So this is the issue that is happening. So though there was a text that you have to interpret the rules in such a manner. Now we'll come to the present COVID-19 case. So we are aware this COVID-19 is a once in a pandemic crisis after Spanish flu, and we got a new variant of coronavirus because of that spike protein, and because of that entire world went into lockdown. We are all aware and we have experienced it. And immediately the developed countries have stopped the flights from all the countries, and they have closed their borders, and they have started restricting everyone. So entire health, and it's both a health and economic pandemic, and lot many people have died. In some of the countries the casualty was so severe, in some countries it was not so severe, but all the people have just locked themselves. Now in this condition, some of the companies have started producing the vaccine for this COVID-19. And once they started vaccine, and some of the countries have started exercising the concept called vaccine nationalism. okay, my country is preparing the vaccine, so I am not going to provide the vaccine to anybody until and unless all my people are inoculated with this vaccine. Some such statements have come. But some people say like, no, in a globalized multilateral world we are not supposed to say that. It is a human, it's completely a health crisis. Every human being is affected with this. So we are not supposed to be such a parochial in our mindset. And India has started preaching like we all believes in Vasudhaika Kutumbakam, that means all universe is one family, and in that manner India has started supplying some of the vaccines to some countries as a gift and some countries with selling. But the point is, at the international level, as far as this vaccine trade is concerned, what should be the position of the international trade body? Because some of the vaccines developed in India, and that is the reason why Indian government is taking, and the companies are so willing because they are also acting in a humanitarian manner. So that is the reason why they are supplying the medicine at an affordable rate. But at the international level, what should be the stand? Now the stand is completely divided into two groups. One group is saying like there must be a waiver from this TRIPS agreement to this invention of COVID-19 vaccine. See, some countries, America and also America German based company, Russia, China, India, so different countries have started producing different vaccine. Definitely they have taken lot of time, lot of energy, lot of money involved in that. We should respect that. But the point is, now some people are saying like there must be a waiver of TRIPS agreement. The people cannot exercise intellectual property rights now because this is a crisis time. If you start making profits out of this, then it is something dangerous because some countries cannot afford it, some poor people cannot afford it. So now this is the time to think in a different manner rather than profits. And those countries who are seeking this favor is mainly India, South Africa, Kenya, Venezuela, even Pakistan, Egypt, and some other 90 countries have supported the cause of these countries. Some of the developed countries, they don't want to give this waiver. Those developed countries like US, European Union, now UK, Japan, Australia, Canada, like these are some of the countries that they don't want to provide any waiver. And along with these developed world, some of the developing countries are also supporting to this argument. Like those countries are something like China, Chile, Colombia. So these are some of the developing countries are also supporting the cause of this developed world, and this group is arguing like there should not be a waiver. Suppose if we give a waiver, it will be a counterproductive. It stops innovation, it stops research, it don't incentivize the people to do again when we get such a crisis time. But these people are saying like you must be show a humanitarian aspect, you must treat everyone equally. It's a matter of lives, and after that it is a matter of livelihoods. So this is the thing some people are arguing. Now India vehemently argued in the WTO, I think 2 days back, and they are clearly saying like, see, you are talking about maybe some 30 to 40 billion dollars of a company, maybe few companies, but if you don't inoculate the vaccine, then we cannot run our business as usual. Until and unless we give complete vaccine to almost all the countries, then you cannot revive the economic growth. And in this globalized multilateral world, this economic growth is very important because every country is depending on other country, and this entire global supply chains are interlinked. If one country is left out of that link, then again it is because see, global supply chain means, so okay, one product, this is a supply. So that means, okay, one item is coming from one country, another country, another country, another country, then only you are making a final product. But if something happened with some country, if there is a sporadic lockdown, or if there is no enough people are coming forward to work, or if there is restriction to traveling to these things, and import and export, any restriction happen, then definitely it will impact the production process. And that too, some people are saying, like, in the post COVID condition, if at all we wanted to revive our economy, because the world trade itself is going, world GDP itself is going to reduce around 3.5%, because the estimates are coming like this. So in order to revive, because some of the countries growth rate is depending on the world growth rate, how the world growth is revived, and based on that some of the countries growth rate will revive. Now if condition is this, and if at all we wanted to revive our growth, if at all we wanted to improve our livelihood conditions, apart from saving the lives, in a post COVID-19, the multilateralism is inevitable. Though during the coronavirus pandemic time, we have ascertained like nationalistic tendencies, like I don't supply medicines to some country because I myself is so shortage, lot of people are there, I need to take care about on my people. Now this is the time not to export anything, because we need to cater the needs of our own people. So like these type of tendencies has grown because of the crisis. But now in the post COVID-19, it is compulsory to go for the multilateralism. That multilateralism can create lot of opportunities for the people of any country in a domestic, in her domestic affairs. So if at all you want to go with multilateralism, you want to continue the trade, and you want to continue that liberalism, and moreover you have some ethical principle like lives of human being is same. If this is the condition, then definitely you need to give a waiver to the TRIPS agreement. Some minimum cost definitely someone has to pay. Maybe people will pay, or the governments will pay on behalf of them. That's the point. That's a different point to discuss. But if you want to save some 30 to 40 billion dollars to few companies, then you may end up with loss of 6 to 7 trillion dollars worth of global GDP. Maybe you may get that loss, because now the second wave is coming. That's what some people are saying. Now the people are still panic. Now in this panic condition, if the people, all the people across the world, if they try to get the vaccine, then we can come to a normalcy. Because a lot of people are saying like, we cannot eliminate this COVID-19, we cannot eliminate this virus actually, because this is going to be like another virus. Then what you need to do, you need to build immunity. Some people get immunity on their own, some people will get immunity through vaccine. So this is going to be, this virus is going to be alive, you can't eliminate. Then the only thing is you must inoculate with the vaccine to all the people, then only you can revive this. So this is not the question of some companies, but this is a question of overall economy and overall lives and livelihoods of the world. And if you see, because there are some reports I will give you, now the 30% of total vaccination, or the total vaccination happened is only in 3 countries, US, European Union and United Kingdom. 30% of the total vaccination happened in only these 3 countries. And 100 countries, they haven't received even a single dose of COVID-19 vaccine. They haven't received even a single dose of COVID-19 vaccine. See the difference, what type of disparities we are promoting. On the one hand, the Oxfam survey has come up with, this COVID-19 has brought lot of economic inequalities. But now with these TRIPS and other things, we wanted to bring a social inequality. That is the reason why UPSC has also asked a question like, this COVID-19 has really affected the people in a different manner based on their economic status. So COVID-19 has not affected everyone equally, every country equally. Some countries who are luxurious, they are withstanding it. Some poor countries, they have struggled a lot. And even in a country, the rich people have in luxury and some poor people have suffered a lot. And now you wanted to allow the disparities to continue for some more period. This is ethically wrong. And this is in the interest of the human being. This is the interest of in the humankind. This is not about anyone. Because if you don't want to give vaccine at a normal rate, and if you want to gain some thousands and thousands of crores on the vaccine to just call Kenya, then definitely the Kenya's supply links will be cut. People don't come forward to work. Then ultimately it is the business of the world is going to be affected. So that is what we need to understand. So this is not something only about the economy, but it is also about life. It is lives and livelihoods. So we must think in a different way, because health is a public good. It must be available to all. On that moral principle we need to work now. Already trade related intellectual property rights is giving some exemptions, and use and interpret those exemptions in such a manner like to suits the developing world, which you have accepted in Doha round, so that the medicines will be accessible to everyone. In India also there was a special case happened. Sometimes these pharmaceutical companies also play a different cards. Like in the year 2013, there is a different concept called this evergreening of patents. But at that time, government was so serious, and even Supreme Court has said that in terms of this Gleevec was a cancer drug to a company called Novartis. Then Supreme Court said that nothing doing, you are going evergreening of patents, I don't accept it, and it must be give it to the generic companies, and you will lose the patent rights. So if it is extraordinary conditions, then governments can take such steps, but now the few companies are only produce that. If the domestic companies go to such an extent, then they may not supply that medicine itself to that country. So at the global level, we need to take a stand. Now the discussions are going on, and we need to be very clear on this, and let's hope that we'll get a positive solution on this aspect, and maybe we'll get a waiver on this TRIPS agreement. So the discussions are going on, and let us hope for we'll get a positive decision, so that it will help the entire humankind. Okay, with this note I am concluding. Thank you.